And did you hear the news? This week on More Sewing with Michele, it's a hot fix. I'm going to be showing you how to use hot fix rhinestones with this tool, the BeJeweler Pro. I can't wait to show you everything that I've figured out to do with it and how you can add pizzazz and bling to your linens and your quilts and any other craft item that you can think of. Let's dive right in to this week's More Sewing with Michele. So I want to talk a little bit about the different items that I have for you today. The first thing is the BeJeweler Pro. Now this heat setting tool that you see here, it has a cord and it heats up pretty hot. But let me talk a little bit how it came to play. In 1986, the company Swarovski crystals started to add an adhesive on the backside of their crystals. And from that point on, it was just a matter of time till they made an individual tool that we could use to add a little bit of bling, a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of pizzazz to fabrics at home. So that's where this tool came into play, the BeJeweler Pro. Now the BeJeweler Pro has 8 precision tips included in the box. And what that means is that you can get multiple sizes of crystals. Now keep in mind, crystals, like I said, they come in multiple sizes, and depending upon the tool, you need to have the right size tip to be able to set those crystals if they're larger. So let me show you real quick here all the different ones we have here. So there's 8 different ones, and we have one on here. And like I said, they go from 2 mm all the way up to 7 mm, which is amazing. And it also comes in the box with the brush cleaning. Now, if one of your tips gets dirty or gets some adhesive on it, basically you take this and you can clean up your tips. It's included in the box. That's amazing. And we also have, which is really important, we have the stand. Now the stand is made so that your tool is up off of your working surface wherever you are crafting. And just so you know, it's really important that you use this stand. Now mine, as you can see, is not plugged in, and that's a good thing. I can handle it. I can touch all the metal pieces and not have any problems. But if this was plugged in, oh my gosh, these pieces get super hot and I would get severely burned by touching them. So you do not want to touch any of the metal when it's hot or when it's cooling off. You want to make sure that after you unplug it, when you're done setting your crystals, I would give it 10-15 minutes to make sure that it's cool to the touch before you put it away or before you leave it unsupervised, just in case you have small children or animals there. And for that case, you want to make sure that you're aware this is not a tool. This is not something that you want your young children to use. I would say supervise, teenagers, so to speak. But any young children should not use this. Like I said, it can get very hot and you can get a really bad burn. So the BeJeweler Pro, it comes with the cord, the stand, the cleaning tool, and 8 precision tips. The last thing that it also has, like most things, it has instructions with lots of information that you'll want to read. So love that, and that is the tool setting device that we have for you today. Now another tool that I brought in, and I thought it was so cool and I was excited to get it, because how many times have you either been beading, or if you have been setting rhinestones before and they're kind of all over the place. So this is, it's called the crystal pick stick, but this is my crystal wrangling stick is what I want to call it, because this is going to make sure that your crystals get picked up, that they get put down, and that you can place them a little bit easier. Now before I had this tool, I did use my fingernails, but not everyone has fingernails, and sometimes using your fingernails, it's bigger than this tip on the end. So let me show you up close. It's got this wonderful tapered tip there, and on the other side it's got this wonderful gummy type picking up. And let me show you how it works. So I'm going to take this crystal here. I very simply tapped that crystal and it is stuck on there. I can shake it. It's not going anywhere. Let me show you up close. You can see that that crystal's on there. And just like that, I removed it. So I love that you can pick up your crystals, put them where you want, put them down, and you have control of your crystals. Now the other side that has this tapered kind of wedge thing, I love it because you can simply, like I said, wrangle those crystals to where you want them to be. You can flip them over. It just makes working with small, delicate things a lot easier. So if I wanted to continue this pattern here, I can simply line them up and then go ahead and heat set them. So the crystal pick stick, or the crystal wrangler as I like, it's a wonderful tool that you can use. Now let me talk a little bit about the crystals themselves. So I'm going to take these ones off because I don't want them to get lost. There we go. And I'm going to hold up this fabric here, and you can see that we have 3 different colors that I talked about. We have the 3mm Aurora Borealis color, which has a little bit of shimmer and shine, gives a little bit of other colors in there. And then we have so this is the 3mm Aurora Borealis, and then we have the 4mm, we have it in white and red, and those are just basic crystals with just the color accent there. So we've got the 3 different colors there of our crystals, and they come in these wonderful packages like so. And like I said, you're going to have lots of fun with these, and you're going to find lots of things that you can add that pizzazz, that bling, that sparkle to. Okay, I know you know what to do by now, but if you're going to pick up these items that I have for you today, you can go to moors-sew.com or click on the link in the description where you can pick them up on More Sewing with Michele landing page. Either way will get you these great items so that you can start adding some bling to your life today. So you can see in the video here that I went ahead, used one of the leftover pieces from a previous one where I was showing how to use the Tucker V-block. So I went ahead and put together that star. And then in the center, I went ahead and added some embroidery that says you're a star. And I simply did that on my embroidery machine. But you don't have to. You could put anything down here. But I wanted to show how using these crystals, the Hot Fix crystals, can add some more fun to this individual design here. So I'm going to go ahead and get a close-up and show you how I'm adding these crystals to the embroidery. So here's the block. I've gone ahead and you can see that I have the crystals, and I'm using the Aurora Borealis ones here. And one of the things I forgot to talk about real quick is how many crystals you get in the packages. So with these ones here, the Aurora Borealis, the 3mm, you get 70 crystals. Now with the 4mm, which are the clear and the red, those packages come with 60. So you're going to have 70 of these wonderful crystals to play around with. And to be honest with you, on the other project, I think I used every single one of my clear 4mm crystals on that, and it's worth every penny. They are just so pretty, and I can't wait to show you that. But let's get back to this. So you can see we have the block laid out, and I've gone ahead and placed using the wonderful crystal wrangler. I can move these around and get them exactly where I want. Now here is the tip. I'm going to simply put it on top, give a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to count to 15. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And let me go ahead and do another one. Now see how simple that is? Let me get my hand out of the way so you can see a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. And I'm going to just continue to do the rest of them. And I'm going to talk a little bit. So keep in mind that you want to make sure that your surface is flat as it can be so that the adhesive can penetrate and absorb into the fabrics that you have. That's what's going to make that permanent bond. And keep in mind that this is safe to go in your washing machine as well as to go to a dry cleaner. Once these crystals are completely fixed to your item that you're putting them on, they will be permanent. They are not going to fall off as long as they are fixed correctly to your fabrics. And I'm trying to guesstimate on the time here how long it's been. Let me see which ones are left. That one's good, that one's good, that one's good. Oh my gosh, I may be good. Okay, so you can see I've added some crystals here. I'm going to go ahead and put my tool away so that it doesn't, burn me, or I don't get it on the fabrics at all. But you can see these are completely fixed now to the embroidery. And isn't that sweet? So adding just one more gives it a little bit of a 3D element. So we've got the quilt block, I've added embroidery, and then one more thing, I've added those crystals around. Now, just so you know, like I said, you want to make sure that your surface is flat. You want to make sure that you're not affixing or trying to put these on anything that isn't porous, fibrous. That adhesive on the back of these crystals need to adhere to something, and they need to kind of melt and bond with it. So these are great for clothing, for shoes. Put them on your mask. Wouldn't that be fun to have a blinged out face mask during our COVID? And quilts, crafts, lots of things you can do with them. Your only limitation is your creativity, which we all know we've got a lot of that out there. So once again, adding these to some stitching is just going to be fun, and you're going to find lots of things that you can do with these wonderful crystals. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've done some wonderful things with these crystals. I want to talk real quickly some of the things that are important. The temperature. It's really important, the temperature on your heat fix tool when you're setting the crystals, that it gets to the hottest temperature. So make sure that you take time for that heat fix tool, the BeJeweler Pro, to heat up for at least 10-15 minutes. I think that I can smell when it's right, because you'll start to hear where the metal is super hot, and you can smell that. So that's important. The other thing is time. You're going to want to make sure that when you're pressing down on the crystals, that you give sufficient time for the adhesive on the backside to penetrate and absorb into the fabrics. So it depends upon the fabric that I'm working on. Some fabrics I will count to about 10. Some fabrics you'll see when I was doing it on this quilt, I was counting to about 15, 16, 17. It all depends. You're going to want to test it and make sure that your time is correct. The next thing is pressure. It's important to add a little bit of pressure on the crystal as it's heating. And the reason being is, especially on quilts, like you'll notice that some of them I put over threads that were stitched free motion, and you're going to want to make sure that you add that pressure so the adhesive kind of penetrates and grips into everything to give that secure hold that we want. So you're going to want to have temperature, time, pressure. The next thing is you're going to want to test. You're going to want to test. Put one of those crystals on a spot that you're not, if it sticks there or whatever, it's okay. But make sure that you have your timing down for the fabrics that you're using. And like if you were putting it on a shoe that's canvas, that's going to be different than if you were going to be putting it on a quilt because of the layers. So those things in mind will help you set your crystals correctly. And let me go over some of the things that we talked about. So I showed this before, and you can see through the videos that I simply added that M. And look at the shine. That crystal is just adding so much bling to the center of this. And I will probably make a little pillow for my room here. So that was a fun project to make a design, or in this case, my initial, Michele, or Moore's initial, into that M shape. And then, you know, the things are limitless. You can actually spell out a word, love, hope, you know, there's no limitations. I mean, you could spell out supercalifragilisticexpialidocious if you wanted to. It's going to take a little bit more crystals than what I used here, though. And then the other thing was the star. Now that star, you'll see that the Aurora Borealis, they really accent the little stars on this quilt block here. So I love that. And it's just a simple thing, adding a few to make that accent pieces. And then the next one is this quilt, and it's probably my favorite. It's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the crystals, was because I had seen them put on to panels and how they accent and really make those panels come to life. So on this one here, I'll hold it up. You can see those stars really shine now, and they pop out, and it's just so much fun to see what these crystals have done. And there's several places that I've added them, down on the bottom here, on the sides, and I'll give one big close-up in a little bit. So that's just a few things that I came up with for these wonderful hot fix crystals. I know you're probably thinking, oh wow, I want to add it to my purse, or it would be really cute to put it on my shoes. It's really limitless what you can do with them. Okay, so this is a quilt that I already made, and I can't wait to add some crystals to it. So you can see it was a panel, and I'll show you the whole thing a little bit later, but I've quilted other areas on it. But these stars, I want you to look at these stars that were on the panel. And over here by the bird, it's one there. And I've done some stitching around. You can see I've stitched around the fox. And on the stars that were on the fabric, I've done some free motion stitching to make them pop, which they kind of do. If you back up, you can see that they kind of pop a little bit more. But wait till you see what I've done when I've added some of these wonderful crystals to it. So here's that quilt that I had made. And you can see it was a great quilt without the crystals, but oh my gosh, do the crystals make it better. So if we come in close, look at the bling, look at the shine. It just really makes things so much more fun, and I love it. You can see that I've added them in many different areas. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit so you can see just this one area. So we've got those stars. They're now all highlighted for our quilt there. So I love it. I love these hot fix crystals, and I just know you will too. So it was a hot fix kind of a day here for More Sewing with Michele. We've got the setter, we have this wonderful crystal wrangler, and we've got the wonderful crystals. And all three of those products are going to make some amazing things for you in your home. I hope you enjoyed this week of More Sewing with Michele. I look forward to seeing you back next week. And until then, bye-bye!